You know, I'm just a simple man, a small business owner. I've never been a big shot CEO. You know, it's very easy to get caught up in the same routine, day after day after day, and forget, you know, what life has to offer you and what you have to offer life. Have you ever had one of those moments in your life where everything around you just seems to stop? Well, I have. You know, a lot of people ask you if you've ever had one of those moments in your life where things have definitely changed, and I've had that actually a couple of times in my life, more than a couple. And I can tell you that one of the biggest ones that we've had was on July 21st, 2012, when we lost Rachel, my middle daughter. And you know, those things, you know, when you're a small business owner, those things not only affect your family, your wife, your other children, your immediate family, your mom and dad, your the grandparents, the cousins, no matter who it is, it also affects your family because you are a small business. You're a mom and pop. Your family is your business. Your business is your family. Even my employees that I have in my business, you know, they stepped up. They knew we were hurting, and they knew that it was time to act like family. Even though they weren't family, they were business family. And it's been a blessing to see those things come, you know, to fruition, because we really need them. If it wasn't for our faith in God, prayers, our family, our business family, our extended family, and our church home, we wouldn't be able to make it through that. And you know, that's what we've always said is, you know, when you have a mom and pop, those two things, you can't close the doors on the mom and pop and leave the family open, and vice versa. It's not going to happen. They're two entwined together. So, like I said, on July 21st, 2012, Rachel, I know, didn't wake up that morning and say, "Today I'm going to heaven," but she did, and she was prepared. And that's the biggest comfort that we can have, is that she was prepared, which helps us to cope with everything and go on with our lives. It's hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And you know, I always talk about as in life, whether you're a business or a family or whatever it may be, you're going to have those times where you're going to be up on the mountain and you're going to be in the valley. And you know, I always say, when you're on the mountain, you better be thankful, but you better be preparing yourself for that valley, because it's going to come, and it can come hard. Sometimes you stay in the valley a long time, but I can also say that when you're in that valley, be excited, because the mountain's coming sooner or later. And those are just the seasons of your life, and they're going to happen. They're going to happen in your business too. You're going to have contracts that are great, you know, in business. You're going to have contracts that are horrible in your business. You're going to have customers that are horrible, the custom monsters that we call them, in your business. And you're going to have some that, you know, you want to break your back for in your business life. Prepare yourself for whatever happens. And here again, I think that I don't know how to separate family, business, and my faith. There's no way to separate the three from each other. I don't think there is any way for me personally. I know there's some people that think they can do it, but I don't see how they do that. Most of the people that we talk to talk about work ethic and different things like that. And I think the biggest thing that's the difference nowadays in work ethic is everybody wants to have the golden ticket, and the golden ticket could be becoming a reality star, or winning the lotto, or doing a program on the internet, a Facebook or something like that, coming up with this grandiose idea, and they want that golden ticket, and they're not willing to work hard enough while they're waiting on that golden ticket. You know, my dad was my best friend growing up. He was my baseball coach, basketball coach for almost every team that I played on. He was the one that trained me to do everything that I know to do now. He was a very patient man. I couldn't ask for a better father or boss. He allowed me to make a lot of mistakes and never ever once got upset with me. He got upset with me if I did it again. And I learned a lot from that, because in business, you're going to make mistakes. He gave me enough rope to where those mistakes that I made, then he would sit down and talk to me about them and say, this is where you made your mistake, and this is how we're resolving. This is what we're going to do with it, and caution me again, don't make it again. That's how I've tried to train all the people that I've had underneath me over the years in the businesses that I've had, is the same way, because I really appreciate it, and I thought it was a way to train people. You know, the work ethic that I grew up with was you did everything it took to get the job done. What I'm trying to say is even whenever you think you have that golden ticket, it ends up being not a golden ticket. And there's a lot of people who make a lot of money, you know, sports stars and newscasters, people who are in the movies and on TV and everything, they're not happy. They have no joy in their life. People that I know that has the most joy in their life are people who go to work every day, do what they do, and go home at night and they rest and they go in the next day and do the same thing. And that's what America's made. That's the backbone of America. And that's usually the people who are the most down to earth and the ones who are your true brothers and sisters. If you're going to, you know, desire something like waiting on something big in your life to happen, then you still got to do the little things as you're waiting on that. And there's nothing wrong with having goals and trying to do something like that, but you have to, every once in a while, you have to have a reality check and realize that. Also, I think the worst thing that we have nowadays, and especially it's because of the men, because men should be, you know, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything are supposed to be the leaders of a business, a family. That's what we're made to do, and especially family businesses. Men have let other men down. They've let their businesses down. They've let their wives down. They've let their families down. They've let their churches down. They've let the country down. The reason that the country is in the doldrums and the tsunami of wrong ways that this country has gone to is because of the men, because we don't take a stand. We don't have the integrity. Most of the men nowadays, especially younger generation, and a lot of mine too, there's no doubt about it, they're looking, they don't have, you know, they're looking for riches. They're looking for something easy. They don't want to put the time into it. And when you do that, it's the love of money. And you're always wanting more and more money and you're not satisfied with what you have. Also, with that, usually the love of money comes pride. And those are two of the things that will destroy a family, a marriage, a small business, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. A large business. If someone's greedy with money, but usually if you have the love of money, then you're prideful. And if you're prideful, then you have the love of money. They go hand in hand usually, and they're destructive. And you have to get over those things. You can't be a prideful person. You have to be able to look at someone and say, I made a mistake. I'm gonna fix that mistake. It's just one of, you know, I didn't know, I didn't understand, I didn't comprehend, whatever it may be. And verbalize that, and to yourself first. And then once you do that, then you can go on with your life and just, again, don't make that mistake again. And the love of money is, you know, trying to, you know, in business, trying to make as much as you can, especially taking advantage of someone where you shouldn't do that. But men need to help men. And if America wants to become strong again, then it's up to the men to do that, because we have let each other down. We've let ourselves down, like I said, our church down, our country down. And if America's going to be the country that we want it to be, and it has been in the past, then it's up to the men of America to do that. After we lost Rachel, you know, you hear a lot of times, you need to get back to work, you need to get back to work, you need to fill your life with things to do. And I can honestly tell you that there's a time to grieve and there's a time to do that. And there's a grieving period, and you'll know, like I knew, and the members of my family knew, that we had to grieve, and we had to grieve with each other, then we had to grieve on our own. But then it was time to get back to work, and it did help. There was a point where it did help to take your mind off of your grief. There's no doubt about it. But it was very hard. You couldn't concentrate on things. Things didn't make any difference to you whether you did them or not. And I think, but the main thing that I can say that I learned out of losing my child coming back to work was it taught me a lot about life, and it taught me a lot about my business, and it taught me a lot about what was important again. And those things don't change. They never will. And those things are, a lot of things are more important to me. A lot of things, my family's more important to me. My business is more important to me in certain areas on the way I do things, but not that I have a business. I could take the business or leave it. I have priorities in other areas of my life now. that I'm looking at, and seeing where God's going to lead me. And if I can use my business to do those things, then so be it. But if I can't, then that's okay too. But coming back was very hard. It was needed. I was needed at the business. Being a small business, mom and pop, I'm the guy. You know, I'm the one that knows everything. When you come back, you have to step into that role again. And it's one of the hardest things that you have to do, you will ever have to do. But you have to do it sooner or later, and you have to make your mind up that you can, and you have to rely on your as a small business, you definitely have to rely on your employees who are like your family, your immediate family, and your faith in God.